We're currently at 1700. Okay, knight f6. We're gonna make sure to get e5, but we want to, of course, take back with a pawn. We got these moves coming up. Yep. And yeah, there's usually a knight that ends up on c3, so it's very well taken care of by this c pawn. It's pretty much what the whole system is about. We'll definitely want an a5 move. I think that's going to be very standard here. This, yeah, definitely looks like knight c5 comes to mind here. I'm expecting a move like this. So I don't know. Let's just go ahead and play h6 for now. Okay, knight there. Takes. Let's go here. Okay, interesting, because you gotta be a little careful of that piece as well. But maybe he'll bring it right back out. Okay, he goes aggressive, which means we have knight a6 here. Definitely the move to think about. Because if it gets defended, then we can start looking at this piece and maybe how we could win it. We do have g6, but he's gonna sack, and so we just need to make sure that we're ready to handle that position after the sacrifice. Because otherwise, it's not really worth it. But nevertheless, it seems like knight a6 should be played. Want to see, how he's going to react even. Okay, he does go back. Unfortunately, that's a huge issue, and this is why I was saying it wasn't very smart by him to put his bishop in there and then bring it back out. So we're going to win a pawn. We're going to take there. This is already looking pretty trustworthy. Let's go right for it. f5, clearly a big threat. So he might need to play this, or maybe move the queen or something. So here he's banking on one of these two moves, which I think we respond to with bishop f6. So let's go for this. Sneaky by our opponent here. Bishop f6, and we'll see what happens from there. Okay, it's an important move to defend checkmate. Knight e5. So there is knight g6 as a threat, which is making me think king h7 is probably the safest move. But rook e8 looks to be the best on second thought, because knight g6, we just go here. And I don't think there's any defending this. f4, we have the, well, forced move. E takes f3. So this looks like it's going to be a free piece for us. Knight g6, king h7. He's exhausting all avenues here, but feels like the end of the line is always the same, up a piece. Queen here, definitely more important than that, I think, is taking this bishop here. This knight doesn't really pose any problems, and we're also threatening the rook here. Yep, just go ahead and take that. Okay. Bishop back. Might even just go bishop d4. Trying to think what he would do next. Yeah, because he might play queen d2 or queen f2. And I think in both cases we can take on f4. In this case, I'm not sure that we can take on f4. It's backfired. Maybe the high octane g5 move. Very suspicious. Seems, am I really trying to prove a point here? No, I'm not intentionally leaving this bishop here. It's move 26 and we haven't developed, but while it is a theme of this system, I wouldn't say that this is something to model your game after. Now I think this makes all the difference. Rook takes and, well, queen takes or pawn takes. I think queen takes is easier, and oof, he's going to walk into something extremely unpleasant, which is a discovered check here. Yeah, that's obviously going to be GG. Just a clean one. Got our system, didn't really do anything too crazy. Traded, knight c5. And I think he should have opted for the complications here. We would have won a piece, but yeah, I think that would have been better. Then obviously he just lost the pawn, and then yeah, the position just got worse and worse. But had he not played knight here and made, I don't know, more normal looking moves, I would have probably continued with the usual rook e8, a5, bishop f8, knight c5, bishop e6, rook d8 maybe. Exact same moves that we always do. Okay, always knight f3 first, d3, and I like to go with the knight first because I'm not that interested in a queen trade that early. Nice little c3 move, fantastic to control these squares. And we do see f5, very, very aggressive move. Definitely something wrong with it, like bishop b5 has a nice threat there. But let's just play queen c2. I think we're threatening to take now probably, especially if knight there. Let's go ahead and take back. Bishop d3 in this case definitely sticks out to me. We could go here, but bishop d3 I really like. There's no knights that can bother us, and bishop f5 definitely loses a piece. I could see him potentially playing it. Takes and bishop takes h7 looks honestly very good here. It looks a little bit quick, but we can take it because there's no way our bishop doesn't escape from this square. And we're about to play here and stop him from castling. So I think bishop h7 is actually good, but definitely a funny looking move. Okay, queen g6, we can win this bishop, but obviously we lose our own bishop in the process, so it's not a clean kill or anything. I still think it's very good though, and we are going to play it. It also forces the king to move, king d7 being the absolute worst. And I think we want to take. There's an idea to play knight here to try to go there, but immediately it's not striking me as good. So yeah, let's just keep it simple and go here. Bishop e3. Probably this, and then maybe we could hit him with some nice geometry. Queen e4. No, he plays this, which means we are going to long castle, intending something to d7. That loose rook, I'm always on the lookout for some kind of tactic, like a double attack involving the rook there. Rook d7 check feels correct. And queen e6. I don't know if we're delivering mate, actually. I'd like to think so, but I think the better move in this position might be the strange looking queen c4, because now we're threatening bishop takes c5 as well. So I think that's probably clever. You get to take this. And yeah, I wish we had a mate here, but I don't think we do. We're gonna have to settle for winning the queen. Here. If we go bishop c5, king e8, I still don't see the mate. It's like kind of crazy that there's no mate there. I mean, we'll be winning after queen b5. And then the other one is this. Queen d7 here, bishop c5 here. King's kind of escaping. So I think we do go for this. And queen b5. I think that's the best I've found. Because the knight's forced to go here, and after queen b7, there's 3 threats that are very significant. Okay, it does go there. He's making me work for it. I was hoping that he would give us knight c6. Let's go check. Bring the rook in. And I feel like I just had this. It's amazing how the knight's covering everything, so it's actually tragic that we don't have... Like, I actually don't know how we could have a position that is dodging checkmate so effectively, just with only a couple pieces on the board. It's really remarkable. Queen c4 is mate, so I think we're getting closer. Oh my goodness! Now he has this. Like, this guy's the defense goat. unintentionally. Well, we lost here, guys, because he gets a check. I think everyone's well aware that, you know, if you get checked while you're about to win the game, I mean, that's a loss. It's the whole point of spite checks. If you're successful in getting them, it is just a KO loss. And I don't know, there's a lot of ways to go for the win here, but objectively, Queen H3 is the best. Guaranteeing the dub. GG. My goodness. That took so long to checkmate. Sure, we missed a billion different ways to do it. Our opponent went very aggressive in the opening. Now, we've seen sometimes the F-pawn go up with the white pieces, but you'll notice we haven't seen it too often with black. Bishop here is a great move. Keeping it standard with Queen C2 is fine. And any of these positions, like the eval here, guys, is almost +3, which is insane. Almost +3. Right? That's like a piece. And all I've done is play our system and recapture in the center. I like Bishop D3. Immediately, we're just, yeah, completely crushing. But the ideas remain very similar. Castle, rook E1. The only difference is without the F-pawn and with this aggression, we just need to support E4 a little bit more than usual. And it'll pay dividends if you do, because then H7's hit. Like, there's so many good things that come from it. A lot of times people just blunder by playing a move like that. Game over. So usually the move F5 will make your life a lot easier. I think easier to win in general in these ones. But if they go ultra aggressive with this F5 stuff, just lend a little bit of extra support to E4. You're always ready to take back. Isolated pawn. I mean, black's doing too much. Way too many pawns forward here. Literally just chucked all 4 of these up. You can't get away with that. Okay, E4, D6. Always a bit more cumbersome with the black pieces. Want to make sure we're like getting the pieces out in the correct way. Again, here would be a mistake. So let's get E5 in. Now knight D7. And then when the bishop comes there, we're ready with bishop E7. So usually here, I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm debating. Sometimes I castle, sometimes I go here, but I in general like to move C6. We always defend knight G5 with castling, so it's not too much of a concern whether you do this first or not. And yeah, there's something about just covering those squares that I really like. He goes here, thinking about H6, but there's also, yeah, just gaining our space over here. Classic, classic. Queen C7. See what the bishop is up to here. It does go back. Let's bring the rook in. We don't have to worry about knight G5 right now, which is definitely a nice feeling. This one cannot be taken, so that's kind of nice. This knight will now need to move. Like knight A4, we could just get away with winning a pawn. That seems pretty good, but at the same time, this gives up a lot of squares that I'm not sure I'm really enjoying. Like, especially the C4 square. So, I don't know. I'm against it on principle. Yeah, I'm going to go A4 instead. Maybe not the best move, but I really like this pawn structure. I think it's definitely underrated. Okay, most likely knight in, and then bishop E6, I think, or maybe bishop G4. Still waiting to see. Let's go. Yeah, bishop here looks decent. Probably rook D8. And the only way to really make use of the D file, I think, is for him to trade, which he does do. He will get rook D7, but it's just rook d7. It's nothing more than that. That's my hope. And, you know, we maybe want to slot the rook over to d8 as soon as possible. There's also a nice knight d4 type of move. So let's think here. Rook there does make... maybe it makes this threat, I want to say. Like rook d8, knight there. That kind of feels like something. So maybe we go queen c5. But I think he's actually getting his pieces into a position where he might not be able to move them. Like they're kind of bunched up there. Bishop e7 or knight d4 almost feel extremely good. Like knight d4 takes, and then bishop e5 will win something. So that's kind of what I mean. Yeah, knight d4 is looking pretty decent. He would have to find some very good moves there. We can also just go here, but I'm definitely looking at knight there. Let's give it a go. I don't know if this is, you know, perfectly sound, but definitely looks like it could be challenging to meet. Wow, that's a very aggressive move. We do have just takes here, which honestly is looking like a pretty nice option, but rook takes f7, so I gotta respect it. I'll take back. What are we up to here? We go queen g5. He's got such a, you know, compact position here. It's very bothersome. Let's go to the g file. I like making a threat here. I know that this is available, but number one, the knight can guard everything, so I wouldn't say that's no, come on. Henrik, really? King h8, rook g8? I mean, at this point, it's almost like it's a cheapo from me. Oh man, Henrik B. I mean, we're up material there, so you got to feel like we had a fighting chance, but impressive from Henrik B. Just to even come up with rook takes f6 is definitely impressive. I think we had a good position here. I should have gone with my other move, bishop e7, which is really nice. It just kind of, he doesn't have any moves here, but I went with my old plan of knight takes d4, which is just as effective, except the move rook takes f6. And I'm not going to lie, I didn't really think he was going to play it. We're still a little bit better afterwards, but not as good as it could have been. So I was pretty impressed by rook takes f6 by Henrik. You have to be. Yeah, bishop e7, pretty much the same idea. I was playing knight d4 to get the e5 square for the bishop. Bishop e7, same idea, and his queen has just taken away the retreat squares, so this is a very nice position. But yeah, this pawn structure, love it. Always works out. Controlling d5 like that is pretty key. And yeah, black's actually doing really well here. These knights just don't really have anywhere to go. So he kind of tripled up and found an interesting sacrifice, but for the most part, all the trades, the pawn structure favored us. All the trades were good. Got rid of that nasty bishop, which is always annoying. And the knight on e6 does pretty well in this opening. Chessbrah. Okay, I respect the name. Let's take our tempo, as always. And here, just because the queen is not hitting our queen anymore, I think we can play e5 straight away. Probably c6. Okay, interesting. He hits us with f4. f4. Definitely a pawn I think I'm going to take. Now the question is, can we sort of access this square first? I'm going to try knight g4. It is protected. Bishop f6. So we are actually hitting this pawn here. Okay, and he doesn't actually notice it, but here's the thing. If he had actually noticed it, it might have worked out a bit better for us. So I think we would have got... Because I'm not so sure I'm interested in this. So we're going to go here. We still get to trade the dark square bishops, but ideal would have been if we could achieve knight there, and that way when we go into the center, we always take back with a piece there. Fortunately, he's not really on the ball, so I think we're gonna get to take here, and yes, not taking that, instead just focused on this square. E5 square is everything. Yeah, we can castle, knight on e5 next. Queen on e7. Knight f3, knight g6 actually wins the rook. Very easy to miss. Okay, he goes here. That pawn's not being attacked right now. Queen here looks like it runs into this after queen g2 or king h2, so not particularly excited to play that. Let's just go queen e7. It's all about this square for us. Oh, I didn't realize what his... Yeah, even still, I'm kind of wondering what the idea is. If we go here and then take on d3 and take back, that looks... Yeah, that looks pretty nice. That might actually be the best here. But I will just play the modest bishop d7 and rook over to e8. g6 is going to be helpful, I think. Oh, that's... No, don't do it. Don't do it. The double rook blunder. Don't let it happen. Okay, at the very least, he doesn't hand over both of his rooks. But he's pretty done here, I think. I thought of a funny way to lose the game. Queen g1, bishop f1 check, queen h2, queen takes e1, queen takes h7. Like, in my calculation, I blundered checkmate. GG. A huge blunder there. Dropping the g3 pawn. There's no coming back from that. So we got an early f4. Basically, this is not a dangerous move for us. We can take and just try to access this. This is probably the best move, but I'm just not interested in it. I don't know. This looks very risky to me, so instead I decided for a safer approach. But when he castled, takes knight d7. Again, bishop takes might be the better move, but I think this is a bit more instructive. Yeah, if you can never play against this structure, just control e5 non-stop, always take back with a piece. And even if he had defended things properly here, like with a king move, not only do we have hanging stuff, but there's lots of useful moves that we can play here. I think we have a beautiful advantage. So moves like f4, f5, we've seen from both colors. I welcome them. More of them, please. Okay, d6. Take our tempo. Knight d7 because we don't want a queen trade right away. And we got to go e5. We got to go bishop e7 as soon as we see this. And always taking back with the pawn. Let's go c6. So yeah, he's preventing knight g4 before he does this. Something that makes a lot of sense. I think we'll go queen c7. It's tempting to go b5 and a5 there. Interesting, this rook c1 move. It's so weird. I feel like we've seen this before from another player. I think it's just coincidence. b4, it looks to me like we're winning some material there. The open C file. I see you. I see you. Okay, never mind. You don't see you. As always, after we pickpocket the e4 pawn, I like to just go back. Okay, this move is looking quite good, quite hard to refuse. Knight g5, d5. And yes, we have to deal with c4, but we can slot in h6 there for, I think, a free piece. Yeah, so he's making way for knight h3. And because of that, I think we're going to play knight b6 so that we can play bishop takes h3. And I don't think this is worth it. That's a ton of counterplay. So I think I'm going to move this queen. But h6 is there. It's available. And honestly, yeah, I think it's actually, we got to play it. Takes, rook takes, just move the queen. And, you know, he takes back, we take on d5. Has to be crushing for us. Full extra piece. If he goes here, though, we take. So, all that considered, I think he is going to take here. But yeah, we're just going to play knight takes d5 after this. Most likely bishop b7, and there should be some tactics there. But yeah, we're up a piece here, and we've got the nasty knight e3, bishop e4 coming up. I like it so far. Hey, I think he saw exactly what we were pointing out there, so credit to our opponent, who seems to be at least spotting the potential mistakes as they're being threatened and happening. Let's see, bishop c4. I think it's going to be time for this one. It's almost like, you know, maybe this move is actually the best move. But we're up so much material that it has to be good for us. We're going to be taking that ASAP. So he might go back to try to give us that check over here. And then I would say queen d7 is the move there. Knight g5, we're always snapping that off. He's down a full rook. So yeah, it feels like it's adding up too much. Queen d7, though, is going to be really nice. Nice idea from him with rook d3. Maybe we can go for the bait. I think we go here. Rook d3, rook c8, play it quickly, and then we can play queen takes h3, and we're totally fine here. GG. Swimming bird. Okay, what happened in the opening? I think it was pretty standard. Yeah, all normal. b5, a5, like at some point b5, b4, and just take the center pawn becomes a really nice threat. Like when the pieces are like that, stacked, b5, b4, and grabbing the pawn in the center is usually really, really good. Hanging e-pawn deferred variation. I can't disagree with you. It is still hanging e-pawn. Eventually we got there. Knight f3. And okay. Move order probably doesn't matter too much because, yeah, we're dealing with someone here who's basically just playing a hippo. So a nice, friendly opponent for us. Knight g5. There is rook f6, so I think it will be okay. Let's play bishop f1. Keep things pretty standard, pretty normal. Yeah, knight g5 again. He's kind of got this rook f6 move. Let's go d4 though. Definitely has to be considered after that. And oh boy, yeah, something is gotta give, I feel like. Knight e6 is even more desirable than knight f7 here, I think. But yeah, you can't really play f5 like that with no repercussions. This should lead to something. Okay, probably the best move played there. I think we just got to go for knight f7. It's kind of boring. There is knight e6, which is still a consideration. But yeah, I mean, like, give me my material, I guess. Okay. This bishop, we want to retreat out of there. Knight g4. I'm not really understanding that one. Here, there's knight h6, but maybe bishop e6 is a good move. Bishop's not that useful on f7. And if he goes back, I think he runs into that. I might even leave this bishop here. I'm kind of undecided. We want bishop a3. Bishop c4 would be the standard move. Let's keep it standard. Need a rook on d1 ASAP. I suspect black is interested in this kind of stuff. Yeah, definitely wanted bishop a3. We can see what he's up to here. I'm considering this, although it does give him the g4 square. I can't say that I really enjoy that. I still think it's worth. Get a potential nice square for ourselves as well. I think we want to take this. Bring everything to the middle. Maybe go for another trade if he lets us. Yeah, and I think what we want to do is bring that bishop to b2. It's actually not doing that much there. That's a surprising blunder. And it is a blunder. I'll use the word blunder. 2 pieces for a rook. A lot of players, they're still making the same mistake. It's like they think that's a tactic, but it's not. This is a tactic for me. So yeah, truly a double question mark type of move. King h7, we have h5, and yeah, we're basically going to take this pawn next. We have 4 pieces, you have 3. I think we take, I know this is hanging, but maybe queen h5. So instead, we'll just take this, and that should be it. GG to the Jakinator. Yeah, I don't know why people keep doing this. These 2 pieces for rook type of trades. We were up material here anyway, so we obviously had the upper hand. Okay, nothing too special here against the hippo. It's always carefree because you know you're going to get your setup nice and easy. Bishop f1. d4, of course, take the center. If like your opponent is move 10, 15, and they haven't even committed a pawn, you should probably be playing this. We started going for our queenside stuff, but then immediately we learned f5 was the plan, and yeah, we're just winning material here. So I feel like we had to be pretty happy with how this went. Okay, we got the same opponent. I wonder if we are going to get the same game. I can't remember if we played white or black against him, honestly. It just happened. We just got him in the pool again. Knight d2, e4. At this point, even just watching the series this far, it should be pretty clear to you what the opening moves are. Like, they should no longer be a surprise. Bishop e2, c3, etc., etc. Let's go c3. We have h3 as well. Always like h3 just to see what this piece is up to. Okay, probably start to push some pieces over. If we go b4, a4, we're going to be hit with the move a5, which I'm not 100% sure how we feel about that. I'm really liking knight to g3 here. I may do that. Let's go a4 and see how he reacts. I can only imagine this move being played, and wow, it does not, which means we get to play b4. I think this is really good for us because we get to meet that with a5. So there's a5 happening. I think we'll go knight h4. I think getting that bishop is well worth it. Knight takes e4 I don't think is a move. Well, I haven't got to the end of it. Both a5 and c5 come to mind here. He goes for this one. Let's take. And I think we'll go here. Ooh. F takes. Respect. Respect. Opening the F file. We might need to shift our rook back to the F file here, like rook F1 in the future. For now, everything seems okay. But look, we have buddies lining it up against us here. I think at this point, taking a knight c4 it's almost too good to refuse. But the other option would be the move c4. Just to lock everything down there. So I like both of those, but you know, this allows for a bit more play. So let's go for this. Let's stop any shenanigans there. I kind of like the move g3. If e4, I think we can take. So let's try g3. Bishop f1, bishop g2 will be... Okay, so he does go for it, and it's a good thing we had our wits about us, because, yeah, we're going to take first and then take here, which I think is the refutation to that. It was definitely extremely dangerous to allow bishop takes, so can't play a move like that without a little bit of calculation. Going to move the bishop, play rook d1. There's also a nice bishop c4 move, and to be honest, f4 e5 really looks like what you're supposed to play here, but I just can't bring myself to do it with how open it makes my king feel. So I'm thinking that I might pass on it. Let's go here. I guess rook d1 next or something. I was actually thinking of this, but there's the move c4. Maybe queen takes here. Should be quite the blunder. Quite the blunder. Let's bring the rook in. We have bishop e5 coming. Maybe some checkmate, like bishop takes g7 mate. Yeah, we can definitely see the makings of that, although rook there is coming. Bishop e5, rook e8. I didn't really want to trade, so. I think bishop e5. Trying to do this, but it's a little difficult to arrange everything. Takes here. king here, and I guess we go for the disco mate. This is rook g6 is actually satisfying because then after rook here, it's still checkmate. Whereas normally rook here, the king would always be able to take the bishop. So I feel like rook takes g6 is like, how many times have you seen a checkmate like that? It's a little bit weird. Just a classic start here. One thing I've mentioned over and over is that this bishop aimed at our queen is super, super unpleasant. So I think knight h4 is so key. Must include this move if you can. And then, yeah, would c4 be nice to open lines? Well, I mean, we can just take it, hitting the queen. Yes, it's a decent idea, but I think it just fails, unfortunately. Black wishes that you could sort of play knight here and then do that, but obviously the moves are just not going to work out. I think this was the way to do it. Play it now. So black kind of missed the opportunity by playing queen b6. Is there plan to get a queenside majority in this opening? No, definitely not. Majority means like you have more pawns over there. Are we going to ever have more pawns over here? No. In order for that to happen, like these pawns would have to like disappear. So of course we can never get a queenside majority, but queenside space, absolutely. Queenside space, we want to get every single game. That's a huge part of this opening. So I don't know if that answers your question or maybe clarifies the definition of the word, but this, just because our pawns look like this doesn't mean we have queenside majority, but queenside space, absolutely. This is the main thing that we do in the middle game here. We have the one and only Hella. 1732. Jeez, didn't expect to see Hella here. 1732. Jeez, the guy's looking a little light. We're gonna go for our system. It looks like he plays a Fianchetto setup, so it won't really have any bearing on, you know, on us kind of setting things up here. Okay, a4. We'll just play as a reaction to that. Rook e1, queen c2. Obviously, because a5 was played, I changed my move order a little bit and probably play a4 myself. Okay, this is kind of what I mean. I'm like, at this point, we're kind of in the territory where you almost want to just play d4, but you know, I'm gonna hold off a little bit longer. I guess we'll wait and see how the pieces want to get developed here. Okay, so I don't know what plan we go for. Rook b1 and b4 could be an idea. Let's see if we can make it a reality. Bishop g4. I think we're gonna probably poke bishop with h3. We could also go knight e3. It's another way to do things. So I would say these two moves come to mind. But, you know, I'm not going to stray too far from the normal. All right, h3. Knight back. I think we're also going to sort of repurpose our pieces here. Not sure we want to go immediately with that. Might go more modestly with bishop there, but let's go g3. Maybe tuck this bishop back on g2. Yeah, I guess we'll go back. Definitely take that just because the queen is pointing in that direction. Gain a little bit more space over here. This doesn't look desirable just yet, so black will have to spend a little bit of time to fix that. And okay, at least the game in general feels a little bit open here, which is probably what you want with the bishops. put the knight over on c4. I'm actually thinking, strangely, just a5 and running the pawn all the way up the board could actually be a valid strategy here. Yeah, let's give it a try. I'm not sure what's going to happen on the king side, but let's push and see how she goes. We have this like, oh yeah, you know, we're covering the square type of thing. The promised land. And I mean, the pawn is useful for an endgame, I feel like, so not the end of the world. Let's try maybe d4 now, just with the pressure on the knight. We do allow the bishop to be shut down, but oh, that's just going to be a yoink. That bishop, oh, yoink. When it rains, it pours. Everything started dropping. Hella. I mean, I think it was an interesting game maybe up till then. I was liking my bishop pair, but nothing too crazy. d4, just felt like we had a weakness we could get rid of. But maybe a6 was the move. Just keep keep sending it. I don't know. GG, hella. These ones are never too... I mean, yeah, the opening is no problem, right? You never have to be concerned that you're not going to get your opening or there's a worry about move order. I will say, most people that have fianchetto, when they play bishop g4, you just prod the bishop and usually they'll take, and at least you have the bishop pair there, so that's something. You like trading off the light squared bishop? I think your game was very good so far, and unfortunately I think probably the worst decision that you made was trading off the light squared bishop. After you do that, your position goes from, you know, with ideas, maybe slightly better, maybe equal, maybe I'm slightly better, to just worse. There's not a lot of cohesion between putting all the pawns on dark squares and then giving up the light squared bishop, unfortunately. So if you were going to do that, it would probably have to be something much more decisive. But I can't really think of many positions in the King's Indian where giving up the bishop is a good thing. When you think of the King's Indian, you guys might be thinking of positions with like c4, d4, e4 pawns. And there's a lot of lines where you give up the bishop here. Because, you know, you can kind of jump your knight around in the middle and control some dark squares. But in my very modest opening here, I haven't committed that much. So I have a pawn on c3 that's dominating the dark squares. So you give up your light squared bishop, unfortunately you don't gain access to any dark squares. Whereas in a lot of these like regular c4, e4, d4 positions, you gain access to a lot of dark squares in the center because you give up the bishop. But and honestly, I think King's Indian players are programmed to do that. But in our system, it doesn't make any sense. You're just handing over the bishop pair, and I don't have there's no deficit. There's no like downside to it. I'm just kind of picking up the bishop pair, and I control all the dark squares as well. Much different from a normal King's Indian position. d4, knight f6. We'll go d6 as well. And we do want to play e5. I like to play c6 early, watch that knight, and then, yep, let's get these. So against a3, I mean, maybe b4 is a move. I'm just going to go ahead and play a5 early. I'm sure that this was played to stop bishop b4, but I'm going to still go ahead and play a5. I don't mind. Let's make sure to keep that defended. As soon as I saw maybe another attacker there, it's castle. Rook e8 looks pretty decent. Interesting. Queen c1. I can't say I fully understand, but I guess he's just making way. Let's go maybe h6, bishop f8, all the usual moves. Knight to c5. After knight c5, it's going to force my opponent to go here. And queen there, I think, is a good move. So you can maybe understand why I'm not exactly like thrilled to force him to play a good one. I think he's probably going to play it anyway. What he really should have done is play this queen c2. I don't know why he played queen c1. And yeah, he's going to play queen c2. All right, the jig is up. Knight c5 is almost guaranteed to be our move here. Can I really think of a different way to play? Maybe this. But if I did that, I'd probably follow up with that move anyway. So yeah, let's just go straight for it. B4 is playable, but okay, we'll meet it in stride. I would say maybe bishop g4 is coming next for us. Okay, well, maybe bishop g4 is not coming next. I don't mind that move from him. It's a pretty good one. Also comes with potential idea of knight e4 next. Simplifying. I think we might just play bishop d7, and it doesn't look like much, but I do have a reason why I wasn't interested in playing bishop e6. It's because I suspected he was playing knight e4, and after we all take, if my bishop was here, I'd have to defend e5, which I wasn't that interested in doing. Because if I play f6 or something, oh man, bishop d3, I feel like I'm getting killed there. Like force mate almost. Okay, we finally see this move. Takes. We've been sort of waiting. I think that knight a6 is the one. We could take first, but it's unclear to me whether that's beneficial or not. So let's just go back. And we're threatening the pawn, so it must go forward. Yeah, have to go forward there. Takes. Knight takes loses, so it's got to be with the pawn. We can play knight here. I don't exactly know what's happening, but we're threatening to threaten something. Question is, do we play this first? Do we just go back there? Let's take. So queen b3 here. There is bishop c4, which is pretty nice for our opponent to be able to play that move. He must not have seen it, because the move that he played is definitely a concession. Almost certainly knight e4 here. At this point, I would say we're kind of playing more with tactics in the position than, or just like, it's less about the opening now. Sometimes the structure of the opening you still see in the end game, and it's like, oh yeah, this is all from our opening system. Here, I wouldn't say there's many characteristics left of what we started with. It's just a regular old position. Knight d3, and I've just been improving my pieces over the last couple moves, whereas white's been going backwards, shuffling the bishop. So I feel like we've made some pretty nice improvements, and still I'm wondering where the heck my advantage is. Like, unbelievable, man. Like, I don't know. I don't see much. Still like my position, but it's not like crushing. I suppose we'll defend that. This one takes, maybe. There's actually no checkmate just yet. GG. Yeah, there wasn't much in that game. It's kind of a weird game. We both used so much time that by the time we were in time pressure, it felt like not many moves had even been played. Very even position here. Queen b3 needed to be played. This was very important. And at this point, Queen b1's a good move from him, by the way. Here, the position is basically even. And this is what I mean. It's been only 20 moves, hardly any pieces traded. This was just a game that came down to a time scramble. It felt like before anything meaningful happened. So not much to say about it. The opening was pretty simple, pretty straightforward. But he also played a fine setup. I feel like we've had setups like this often. And had he played Queen c2 instead of Queen c1, I think he would have been doing much better. Because Queen c1 is not helpful. I think, in general, Knight c5 and e4 as a push in order to back it up with Bishop f5 is a really nice idea. But I never got around to doing it this game. Knight f3. Let's get our setup on the board. Bishop here, I think we still go e4. Yeah, knight takes, we can see, drops that pawn there. And at this point, even like bishop c4, queen there comes to mind, but I'm going to keep it simple with the brilliant c3. I would say bishop c4 makes more sense to play, but I'm committed. We're just gonna go back and set up our position and, I mean, let him blunder for us. Not much to it. Literally undid the position just because I like our setup so much. Newsflash, buddy. If I just left a square, it's not available for you. And that was a very effortless 15-move win, I would say. Just collecting the bishop pair in the opening. The move c3 is so killer every time. This is my favorite move in the entire system. And yes, there are better moves to be played here. Yes, the queen is fine out here, but the system that we have is just so rock solid that I even like to go back to it. And hey, guy played queen b6, horrible blunder, and we get a really, really easy win. Okay, gonna take our tempo with knight f6. In comes knight d7, bishop c4, bishop e7. Oh, instead we see d5. Okay, you guys know when I see this move, I always like to just nudge the bishop, see if he's going to give it to me for nothing. And in fact, he does here. After castling, I'd love to win the queen. It's just not an option for us. Okay, let's go queen b6. Anytime you get the bishop like that, okay, well, this is going to be game over quicker than we thought. I mean, he's playing very quickly, also very poorly. Yeah, he's just here to mouse click and go next. We'll do this just because it gets a whole bunch of trades. And just put him out of his misery here. I thought maybe he might take it. Our guy here is quite the gladiator. well, I don't know. That game was just kind of a blur. We faced some pretty tough opposition, but it's pretty clear that these type of players are not the toughest to handle. Keep your wits about you. Play our opening. I mean, all I did was really take his bishop. Here we just took the free piece he offered, but he's making pretty much every move in about like 0.4 seconds or something. So he's playing way too fast. He's not even considering the position. But a lot of our opponents have been playing h3, bishop e3, which is good because it stops knight there. And if I don't see h3 and I see the bishop out there, knight g4, the feel-good move of the year. Knight f3. Okay, let's sneak our pawn up to e4 here. Always recapturing with the pawn, which have a very similar opening to the one we just had. a5 is an interesting move there. Okay, a5 and bishop b4. I guess we'll go maybe knight here. I really want to play c3, but I'm actually considering knight here just to play c3. But surely that's too crazy, right? I don't know. I'm really considering it. I just want to play c3 so badly. But if we're being realistic, like, that's not the move. Cannot be. So we have bishop d2. We also have bishop g5. The reason I want to move the bishop is so I can put something on c1 and literally play c3. And I'm annoyed that I can't do it here. So the question is, what move we prefer here? I guess we'll keep it simple. Go like this. Feels like c3 is the move we would want to play next. Bishop e6 is going to drop that pawn. Instead, we see this. I imagine taking is on the horizon for my opponent here. Like, almost guaranteed. And I don't think we have any sneaky moves here. Let's just go like this. Here, there is knight takes e4. I would like it to work, but don't believe that it does. I kind of like c3. I think that's a move we do want to play. And slide the queen over to c2, especially because I expect a rook to d8 move. And we don't get it. I have to take with the pawn because allowing a knight into that square is no good. Rook to d8 is going to threaten this, which means we need a queen move. Stat. Rook b1. Almost certainly the move b6 will be played. If not now, then soon. But yeah, maybe rook b1, rook b5. Add more pressure here. At this point, knight h4 becoming increasingly tempting. But I'm going to hold off. This bishop, I feel, needs to remain on this pawn. So even bishop f1 next. Remembering that I can recapture on f3 with the queen. So yeah, let's keep this bishop. It's defended. Queen c5 is prevented. That's threatened. And g6 does not feel good with a bishop there. There's a knight d6 move coming, but that's going to be really good for us if he decides to go for it. Yeah. That's my own fault. I think if we move the queen there and that knight could retreat there, ooh, that would have been a game changer. But I think we're gonna suffer here as a result. It doesn't look like that big of a deal, but Definitely not. Oh man, yeah, if we had moved the queen and the knight retreated to e3, impossible to really describe just how good that would be, but it would be very good. This knight needs to do something useful. So unfortunately, moving our queen to knight e3 would have probably been close to game over. We would have got to... Oh, maybe d4 there. Yeah, missed opportunity to finally push that pawn. That's okay. We're going to stay pretty solid here with this bishop. Never any issues. C7's hit. We might see pawn to c6. Ooh, that's quite tricky, actually. Almost want to... Maybe this. Yeah, tricky guy there. Okay, he stays with the tricks, but he may have tricked himself now. This might be might be a little too far. We'll see if bishop c6 holds up. Okay, it goes there. Now let's just sack here. I think it'll make the position a lot easier to play, especially with mere seconds on the clock. Get a queen trade, and that should be enough. A pretty good game from Box. This was what I meant. The queen should be moving because you can only expect this, and then the knight goes here. And this is much different than what we had, because now this knight doesn't go here, instead goes to e3, which is perfect, and we get to go here, and the knight can't stop it because the pawn is hanging. So this would have been a pretty big deal, actually. The difference between this position and the lazy rook move we played is now my knight doesn't have the square. We have to go back this way, and then the knight gets d6, and yeah, I'm probably not even that much better there. And yeah, I know it looks like our bishop on f1 is just kind of bad, like not that great, but it's doing all it needs to do. It's a very important piece. And then this pawn keeping the knight out, these two pawns keeping my knight in on c4, and this bishop watching that. It's just a very compact position. Everything has a role. So, big fan of this. As well, it also opens up the rook and queen on the e-file. And it gets out of the way so that if this knight moves, there's no bishop takes. Because I was not interested in trading. I need my bishop to defend the d3 pawn. We'll go d6. We will go knight f6. To be honest, we can almost go there. But yeah, we'll definitely go knight f6 on this one. Knight d7 because... we don't want to allow that queen trade with e5. Now e5, because our knight's in the way. Bishop e7. C6, queen c7. Pretty much all the, I don't know, all the usual stuff. I'm going to hit this bishop. Most people don't view losing the bishop as a big deal, so they just kind of let it happen. Personally, I think it is quite a big deal. Knight takes e5 may have been threatened there, so let's make a nice safety move. Knight there. Don't think there's anything wrong with this, so you can take if you want to. Yeah, it just goes back. It was kind of a weird decision there. Let's start with this one. So actually, yeah, so if you play this, b5, a5, you always get hit with a4, b4, and then you just have to make sure you're in a position that can handle that. Because white's going to go here, and put a knight on c4, and I don't know that I like that. So I'm going to start with a5 instead. Obviously, it's going to get prevented. We're not going to get to play b5 now, but I think we can deal with that. We get some nice dark squares here for our own pieces. kind of want to do this, but I think we'll go here. I want to play g6, but this pawn was hanging, so we'll play instead king h7, g6, and now king g7. It's quite long-winded just to get here, but I'm confident that there's not that much going on here, and this pawn just keeps all these pieces at bay. So as soon as this knight moves, maybe there's some bishop g5 stuff. Okay, might be a b6 move here. If we go like this, we're allowing rook d7 every time, so we do have to be careful. I think we may go for b6. Just so that when the knight moves, we have bishop g5 now. The knight's protected. I think bishop d7 here, and then bishop back to c8. Yeah, don't think there's any tricks. Could be missing something, but I don't think so. Queen c3. Knight e4 maybe is not as good anymore, but I think we still have bishop f6. This looks like a very dicey moment. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little like just trying to make sure I have everything covered. But the second I play rook d8 and the bishop goes back, we're all fine again. So yeah, he does go here. I think knight e4 is a definite consideration, but bishop f6 is much safer. I don't want to get into any nonsense on this bishop. So yeah, now we get our rook d8 move we were after, and then we can tuck the bishop back, and everything will be a great success. Okay, here comes b4. Understandable, but I don't think we're in any danger here because b4 always hangs the a pawn. And by doing this, I also don't play bishop e6. So I keep my bishop pair. And it was clear that I had no other place to put the bishop. So just bishop d7, rook over, and bishop back. Bishop d7 is always the diciest moment in your position because you don't quite have your rook there. But the second you play rook there and move the bishop back, it feels so good again. So you just have to make sure when you play this, there's no big tactics. That's going to be the moment where you can get in trouble. And these pawns just keep all the knights out as far as I can see. Okay, pick up a pawn there, and remember we still have the bishop pair. Might pick up a piece here. I could see that. Yep. GG to our opponent. A lot of games kind of go like that. Like I've definitely had quite a few that they just look like very sort of symmetrical, but we have the bishop pair and they're doubling the rooks here. But notice how we're never that bothered by the rooks, right? Our opponent doubles the rooks here, full control of the open file, but we're not scared. Look at how much control we have over every single square. There's no access, there's no entry. So sure, you can double the rooks on the d file, buddy. You know, slow clap. It's just it doesn't do anything for you. And we are at 1800, so we'll take it. We made it. Another hundo. Thank you for making it to the end of this episode of the Philidor speedrun. This opening has been super successful for me, and I hope you guys are experiencing the same elo boost. As always, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and turn on post notifications so you do not miss our next upload. I'll see you guys in the next one.